Hi, this is a presentation of Chapter 1 in CCNA1, and this is Section 3 and 4. Section 3 is about something called converged networks. This means that the way that we use networks has changed over the years. If we look back, like 10 years ago, for instance, we typically had different networks for different purposes. That when we were going to use our telephone, we used the telephone network. When we were watching television, our televisions use the broadcast networks. And when we were using our computers at work, we were using computer networks for that purposes. But this is not the way that things are anymore, because today we have what we call converged network, a converged network, which means that all these different types of purposes are now joined into one network. We're using the same network, which were originally the computer's network, but now we can use this for the other purposes as well. So when we are using phone, for instance, voice over IP, we are using the same networks as our computers are connected to. And the same thing when we are streaming television, we are also using the same network. So today that we will find that we have a lot of different purposes, a lot of different types of traffic using the same network, which of course also makes it very important that this thing is working correctly. So this is the converged network. Yep. And if we look back, we will now go to section 1.4, which is the changing network environment, because things are changing. If we look at the different network trends, we will see that the things that we connect to networks are also changing, because now we are used to bringing our own device, or BYOD. So bring your own device means that when we come to school here, for instance, you bring your computer, you bring your own phone, sometimes also your tablet. So you have all these devices that are your personal devices that you are bringing to the school. Also, the same thing we see with our employees here at the school. They also bring their own devices. So we need to make sure that we cannot control anymore the way that we could before. Before we had set up all the computers that were connected to our network, we know exactly what was installed on them. We knew how they were configured, and if they have all the different software updates installed and so on, we could control them. Today we are not able to do so. So the way that our networks are supposed to function has also changed, because we will not just, now we have to allow all these different types of devices to be connected to our network. And then we have to do something if we want to, for instance, secure it. And there are ways of doing that. So we can still secure our local network, even though we allow our users to bring their own devices. We cannot just say that they are not allowed to bring their own devices. Another thing that also, of course, influence our network is online collaboration. For instance, all the different teaching platforms that we have. We need to have access to the data at all times. If you were here in the school and we didn't have the network functioning, it will be very, very difficult for us to really teach, because we are very dependent on having all these online tools available. So that is, of course, also something that we need to make sure. Same thing with video communication, different video tools. We are, of course, using YouTube as a tool. We are also using video communication between our two locations here in Esbjerg and in Sønderborg. We have two different classrooms that are connected to each other. And we are, of course, here again dependent on our network, that it works correctly. We are using cloud computing, which means that all our servers are not here at the location of the school. They are cloud-based, which means that they're not here, they are somewhere else. And we have our servers actually a lot of different places in the world. Some of them we don't even know where they are. So we just we rent servers and disk space out in the cloud. And of course, there are different security aspects here as well, but we of course have chosen some cloud suppliers that we trust. This is very important when you are using cloud computing, is that you trust your suppliers. Yeah, if you look at different new trends at home, we will see, of course, here also we have cloud computing. When I'm connected with my iPhone, I can get all my pictures and wherever, and I can share them with my family and stuff like that. So we are all using different cloud services for different purposes at home. Something that has been on its way for a long time is power line networking, where we are using power lines to get access to the network. I'm not sure if this is going to be popular, but of course there are still some companies that are using this and are looking into this, the different opportunities that we can have with power line networking. Same thing with wireless broadband, that we will have broadband in an entire city, for instance. We can see that this will probably not be so popular, since we now almost have full 4G coverage all over. So when we are not connected to a wireless network at home or at school or in our business, well then we typically are using the mobile or the cellular network instead. But still, could be something that we will see more of. Another thing when we are looking at the future of networking is, of course, that there will be so many threats. We need to think about security from the very, very beginning, and we need to educate our users how important this is, because of course there are all these different types of attacks and threats. We have of course all these viruses, worms and trojans, spyware and adware. We will see that we will have a lot of these crypto loggers, which is very popular at the moment. We can have different denial of service attacks. We will have seen that at some occasions during the last year here at the school. There are data inception and theft, identity theft. We will see more and more. Zero-day attacks and zero-hour attacks is when you find out there is a vulnerability and that you start using it or misusing it before they have made a patch for it. So there are so many things that we need to take into consideration with our network. There are different solutions, of course. All of these practical, technical solutions like firewalls, antivirus, we need access lists, we need intrusion detection systems, we need VPNs. And of course, this is something that we can do. This is something that we can set up and we can have working. But of course, the weakest point here is always the human factor. So it's important also that we teach our users to behave and to be sensible when they are, for instance, opening mails and clicking on links and using their work computers at home for all different types of purposes. Yeah, so security will be more and more important. Cloud computing and security are the trends that we have to take into consideration whenever we are working with IT, and especially, of course, also networking. When we look at what you are about to do now in this course, is that we are doing the CCNA level. The CCNA level is here. This is not the entry level of IT, but we are on top of that, and we are looking at, of course, all different types of protocols and what is networking containing of. And we will see that during this course that we will work with a lot of different things to make smaller network into larger network and all the different aspects we have with networking. And that was section 3 and 4. Thank you.